Hey, you guys. So we have another announcement that hopefully is kind of a cool announcement. Tom?
Yeah, well, I'm kind of mad because you know how girls are always say they're cold? It's got to be 95 degrees outside.
It is not nice.
She's wearing a sweater.
Well, it's not 95 degrees in here.
Okay, well, whatever. It's probably like 74.
I wouldn't be wearing a sweater if I was outside,
It's all beside
obviously.
the point. It's all, I think it's hot as hell. Anyway, besides the point. I'm a man. I got that man's metabolism. You know, it's running hard, and I'm constantly like 5 degrees hotter than a woman. You know?
But okay, you guys, this is my office. I'm the one that sits in here all day and works. He comes in and turns my air conditioner on.
Okay, look.
After I told him not to.
Because we're on our own, and we can do whatever the hell we want now. We decided we're going to expand the show out into another direction that Jenny and I love. We love movie reviews.
Yeah.
Especially if they're funny. But not necessarily, you know, we love Brendan Tenold. Who else does a good movie review?
Well, I really like Hugo and Jake from the Bible Reloaded. Yeah. They just do like cheesy Christian movies, but they're hilarious. They do like in-depth ones. I like those too.
Well, so we wanted to review some movies that were like important to us. You know, on a personal level.
They're mostly going to be horror movies, sci-fi movies, that type of thing.
Yeah. Some of them will be new, but a lot of them will be kind of the older horror movies from the 80s. And one of the things that I noticed is that a lot of the guys that are reviewing movies are young. So let's say, for instance, they're talking about the movie Predator, or Predator 1. They didn't see that movie when it came out. They weren't even born then. A lot of them. Yeah. You know what I mean? So they don't understand the context, and they'll ask, I don't know what the audience's reaction to this would have been. Well, I know. I was there. All right. I know what it's like to be a little kid and your dad takes you to see Alien 1 and the chest burster pops out. And I know how the audience reacted to that. I was there, you know. So we're going to take it down that path.
Yeah, we definitely wanted to pick movies that were, you know, kind of significant to us in some way, or, you know, ones we just liked a lot from when we were growing up, or like I said, even newer ones that I really kind of liked.
Should I give them a few off the list of what we're going to do?
Yeah, we have and I should say too that our In Minutes, our list channel, that's going to continue. That's not going to stop. We're going to do that as well, but this is just going to be another little extra thing. We're not going to make like a separate channel for it.
No, we'll keep it on this channel.
These will just be on the regular 13 o'clock channel, just periodically whenever we do them and put them on.
Yeah, we might put them in a different playlist.
Yeah, I'll just make a separate playlist for them. I'm not going to make a separate channel.
Just as an example of kind of movies we're talking about, got to get to Omega Man.
Yeah.
Got to get to Predator. Got to get to The Evil, The Haunting, The Thing, Mulholland Drive. You want to do that?
Mulholland Drive, yeah. I got to do a David Lynch.
They Look Like People, The Invitation, The Tenet, Suspiria. One called Inframan we have to talk about.
That was such a great movie.
We have to talk about The Hunger. We're going to talk about Dead Ringers, Alien and Aliens. I definitely got to do a show on Escape from New York.
Right. He loves Escape from New York. You guys don't even know.
Dune, Conan, The Last Man on Earth, Burnt Offerings, and maybe some Korean flicks.
Yeah.
That were
plus tons of other ones. Like I said, I mean, you know, I have a blog which I mentioned on the show sometimes, Goddess of Hellfire, and I review movies on there. Right. And so I'll probably be covering some of those movies, some of the older ones and the new ones that I did on there, and you know, probably some other ones as well.
Yeah, and it'll probably be the ones that Jenny really is the ones she really knows about. You know, I'll let her. She can lead with those because she can do research. My reviews will probably be more like just a review, just pure testosterone driven. You know what I'm talking about? I don't even think I'm going to go by a script. I'm just going to, because think about it. I mean, these movies have already pretty much been reviewed by professionals, you know, guys that have whole channels on this, you know, who the director is, who the sound engineer was, who the key grip was, you know, they know that kind of stuff. I'm not going to do mine like that. Mine will be more amusing, I think. Even though I love those kind of reviews.
Yeah, I do too.
It's just not going to be scholarly. It's going to be pure emotional. Pure emotion.
That does not surprise me.
Yeah.
That's how you do things.
That's how I roll.
Yeah, it is.
I know. So we'll also take requests too. If you guys can come up with some good movies that you want reviewed, you know, if we've seen them and we go, oh yeah, it's a good idea, we'll do that one. You know.
Yeah, because it's hard for us to kind of think of every single movie we want to do. I mean, you know.
Well, we're out doing walks sometimes, and we exercise, and it'll pop up in our head an old movie.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Right.
It's fun, yeah, because we kind of made two separate lists because even though we agreed on some we wanted to, because we definitely want to do like The Thing and stuff like that, because that's one of my favorite movies and one of his favorite movies.
Yeah.
But I think I see a lot more horror movies than you do, or I've seen a lot more old horror movies than you.
Especially recently.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot more recent ones too, because a lot of them you haven't seen.
I liked Clown. We saw Clown.
Yeah, I actually kind of like that too. It was dumb, but it was like really entertaining.
Well, it kind of reminded me of the old movies that we kind of grew up with. Where it was a very linear plot.
Now that's why I wanted to do some newer movies too, because I've recently started like for my blog mostly, I started going on Netflix and I said, man, I'm going to like check out some newer horror movies. Because I've been hearing a lot of good things about a lot of newer horror films, because a lot of them are throwbacks to the 80s. Days. And a lot of them are set in the 70s and 80s, which I think is kind of rad, which I guess like younger filmmakers do that because they said, oh, well, no one has cell phones. So that makes it a lot scarier when you can't just go, hey, help me. You know what I mean?
Plus the directors of that era back then were really good. They were,
True.
Know, even the cheap movies. Well, some like, what was his name? The guy who did, oh shit, it's on the tip of my tongue. We were just talking about him today. Guy who did The Thing, John Carpenter. I mean, those weren't really high budget movies, but they were really well crafted. Yeah. They were works of art, you know.
Well, and we were talking about how if you do really good practical effects, that movie will never date.
Yeah.
CGI will.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you see movies that were made in the 90s with the CGI of the 90s, they look horrible.
Right.
But you can watch a movie from the 80s that was done with really good practical effects, like An American Werewolf in London, for example, or Predator.
Yeah.
And that still looks fantastic, even though it was... Well, shit, Predator was, 30 years ago?
Yeah, and 20-something, almost 30 years, I guess so. I was a kid. What was that, 1987?
1987,
Yeah. I remember it. I was in high school.
Yeah, I was in junior high. I was going to high school.
I was a senior, I think. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. But I mean, you can watch Predator today, and that holds its own. I mean,
that suit is still fantastic.
Yeah, that's like
that creature design.
Yeah, it actually, the original looked better than the ones out of Aliens.
Yeah.
Or, no, Predators.
Yeah.
You know.
I thought they did, actually.
Yeah, it looked better.
I thought it did.
Anyway.
Okay, so I hope you guys are excited about that. And if any of y'all have any...
You said y'all.
Well, I'm Southern.
Ain't that something? You said y'all.
Bless your heart.
I know. I got her.
I'm a Southern. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, I do it too sometimes. Without thinking about it.
Well, it's mostly when you talk to your dad on the phone
or
in
get
Mississippi.
Mad.
Or when he gets mad, then the Southern accent comes out. Even though you were born in California.
My last round of ammunition.
You lived in Mississippi for a long time.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, so if you guys have any ideas for movies you want us to do, old ones or new ones, doesn't really matter. Tom kind of likes more actiony movies. He likes monster movies.
Yeah.
I kind of like more artsy-fartsy movies, ghost stories, that kind of stuff, you know. So we'll kind of cover a lot around, I think.
Those put me asleep. But...
Yeah, he doesn't like those. So so those are the ones I'm going to talk about. I like surrealism and subtle ghost stories and
stuff
like that.
I like guys shooting guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like the typical kind of.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Stupid big dudes and big old muscles and shit and guns.
So homoerotic.
Hey, man, it is what it is. Yeah. It is what it is, you know?
So anyway, if you have any ideas for movies you want us to do in the future, like I said, I don't think we're going to kind of adhere to any regular schedule. We're just going to put them up whenever we do
want
them.
To.
Yeah. And then the regular show will just be up every
That'll be regular,
Tuesday. And then the In Minutes ones, I'll just put them up whenever I get
Who knows?
done.
People might like this even more. So
yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
But hope you guys enjoy that and give us some ideas. Bye.
See you.